Welcome to the Money Manifestation Mastery podcast with your host, Lara Waldman, where we talk all things money. Big money, big purpose, big power. Waking up your wealth for heart-centered business owners and entrepreneurs. In today's episode, we are going to speak about the importance of knowing your numbers. Having your eyes wide open to the grounded facts of your financial reality. Knowing how much money is coming into your bank account, coming into your life, and how much money is going out, and why this is an essential part to financial empowerment, and to help you build that bridge between where you are now to where you want to be financially and in every area of your life. Let's dive in. There was a long time in my life where I had no idea what was going on in my financial reality, and I didn't want to know. I had zero interest in knowing my numbers. So I've learned all of this the hard way, and I want to share with you what I have learned from my slow and painful journey into financial empowerment to help save you unnecessary time and unnecessary pain. I had a rough idea of what was going on in my financial reality. Occasionally I'd check my bank account, but mostly I would be in my overdraft very soon after I was paid, and I was essentially spending more money than I was earning. I somehow got by, but I was very disconnected or disassociated from my financial reality. The one good thing is I didn't accumulate a lot of debt because I had a scary experience with a credit card where I received a credit card when I was very young, maxed out very quickly, and then I needed to pay it off. And when I went to pay off my credit card, it took me so long. And after that, I really avoided spending unnecessarily on credit cards. So luckily, I had that negative experience early on and saved myself from unnecessary consumer debt in my life. Other than that, I was completely disempowered financially. I was unaware of my financial reality, and I wasn't focused on it at all. I was focused on following my passion. I was focused on following my purpose. I was focused on developing spiritually. I was focused on my healing journey. And I required some money to live and to educate myself, to do courses, but that's all I focused on. I was interested in freedom. I wanted freedom to explore and to have fun. And the idea of looking at money or working with money was the complete opposite of that to me. But to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about it. I wasn't conscious of it at all. The only times I thought about money was when I needed money in order to do something that I want. And somehow I would manage to figure that out and come up with the funds if there was something that I really wanted to do. I'd started to learn about manifestation at that point in my life and was starting to experience manifesting money when I got really focused on what I wanted. But for the rest of the time, I was completely disconnected from my financial reality. And if you've heard my story already, you'd know that it wasn't until I had 2 little kids and we were completely broke, unable to make ends meet from month to month. We were living off one small income and it was nowhere near covering our bills. It wasn't until I absolutely had to, and I had no choice but to look at it, that I started to look at money and face our financial reality. And that was a very painful and difficult time. But it was also the birth of the Money Manifestation Mastery methodology. Slowly, I started to work with money, consciously and mindfully, one painful step at a time. And within that time, those early days of working with money, transforming my relationship with money, working on money mindset, and learning how to manifest money consciously and mindfully, I received the guidance that I needed to educate myself around finances, the practical nuts and bolts of money, which I didn't know, I hadn't learned. I ended up manifesting a woman into my life called Ann Wilson, the wealth chef, and I invested in her course to become financially literate and financially empowered. And during her course, I learned the importance of having money dates, spending time with my money and putting time in my diary in order to have dates with money. I loved this idea. I thought it was a great plan, but I completely avoided it. As part of the money dates, Ann Wilson suggested creating spreadsheets where you're looking at your ingoings and outgoings, the importance of knowing your numbers. I got it quite quickly that it was important to know how much money was coming in and how much money was going out and what I was spending my money on. But honestly, I couldn't do it. I avoided this action. I couldn't sit down to do it. I wasn't making any time for it. I felt ashamed, I felt embarrassed and completely anxious and frozen when I even thought about trying to have money dates. I had money dates and spreadsheets on my vision board for 2 years before I could actually sit down and do it. I was blown away at how stuck and blocked I was when it came to looking at my numbers and facing my financial reality. There was some serious avoidance going on. So what I did during this time was to work on my relationship with money, to work on aspects of my money manifestation mastery methodology. I did the inner work, the visioning work, mindset work, and I did the inner game of conscious wealth creation until I was ready to take that aligned action and look at my numbers. One of the things I found out in this time of inner exploration of my relationship with money was something that really surprised me. And it's actually quite funny. My dad is an accountant. He is really good with money. We were always safe and secure financially. I could have gone to him at any point to learn about the nuts and bolts of money. But what I hadn't realized is I had unconsciously rejected my dad. I'd unconsciously rejected that way of working with money because it didn't feel like freedom. It didn't feel fun. It felt tight, controlling, contracted, fear-based, limiting, and I didn't want anything to do with it. And as I started opening up spiritually, opening up to abundance, opening up to possibilities and creation, that way of being with money felt really bad to me. I didn't like it. So I rejected it. And part of my journey with money manifestation and transforming my relationship with money was working through these unconscious rejections that I had made with money, where I'd created separation between myself and money and starting to make peace with that aspect of money. It's been a really interesting and revealing part of my inner relationship with money. These were all parts of the inner work I needed to do to simply look at my financial reality, to be able to take this action of knowing my numbers until I was finally ready to sit down and do it. And eventually, I finally was able to pin myself down and look at my numbers, look at my statements, look at my bank account, and start to get clear about what was coming into our life financially and out of our life. And it was incredibly revealing. One of the first things I found was all these places that we were leaking our money, these unnecessary places we were spending, subscriptions that we were paying for every month that I wasn't even aware of, for example. So the very first thing I did was seal up some money leaks and cancel those subscriptions. And immediately I saved myself money. And from that experience, I got a hit of joy or pleasure from the experience. I started to see where we were spending our money and what we were spending our money on. And it was really interesting to know where the money was going. I also looked at how much money was coming in and facing the reality of overspending, of spending more than was coming in. And at first, this was very stressful and made me feel overwhelmed and anxious. But slowly but surely, as I kept practicing and developing this new healthy habit of knowing my numbers, I noticed something really powerful starting to shift over time. I started to feel more relaxed, less anxious, less overwhelmed, the more that I did it. And what I can see now, it was simply about creating a new habit, a new skill of sitting down and doing it and creating some simple systems to know my numbers. The practicals of knowing my numbers were actually incredibly simple. What made it difficult was my mind and my emotions and how I was reacting or responding against it. But once I did it and did it a few times, I realized it was fine, it was doable, it wasn't a big deal. I didn't like it at first, but slowly and surely I started to almost enjoy it. And I found that after I did it, I felt a sense of achievement. And I started to feel more empowered because I knew where we were financially. I knew what was going on. And even when I found that we were spending more than we were bringing in, it activated my creative power, activated my money manifestation master within when I knew how much money I needed to create, what I needed to do, how much more money we needed to bring in. And that inspired me once I knew where we were and I knew exactly what we needed to bring in. So slowly but surely, my relationship with knowing my numbers started to grow and evolve. At first, I was doing this on my own. I was doing it for our personal spending, our family spending, and also for my business. But then I got my husband involved and realized we needed to do this together because he wasn't doing the accounts with me. And our next step was to have money dates together as a couple and look at our personal spending and work together. And that was another challenge. That was our next step challenge, is coming together in our financial reality. It took us a bit of time, and now it's something we enjoy doing on a regular basis. And where I sit now is that I get really uncomfortable if I leave this for too long. I actually want to be looking at my numbers every week and knowing exactly where we are in my business and my personal spending, where before it was incredibly painful just to get me to look at my numbers once a month, have a monthly money date. And now I love having weekly money dates. And sometimes I look at it every day. So over time, I can see my relationship with knowing my numbers and looking at the grounded practical reality of money coming in and money going out has changed, grown, and evolved over time. And this is an important piece to remember, that when you want to do something that you haven't been doing before, this is about creating a new habit or a new skill. And at first it can feel immensely uncomfortable. But if you keep doing it slowly but surely, it's going to feel less hard, less overwhelming, and becomes easier and easier over time. Now we've streamlined our systems for our personal spending and for my business accounts. It doesn't take much time, where in the beginning it seemed to take forever. We've now streamlined it, and it's a relatively fast, quick, simple, easy activity that makes me feel safe and empowered, secure, and clear on what I need to do and what I need to focus on moving forward. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a financial advisor. I help my clients work on their inner game of conscious wealth creation. But what I've found is knowing your numbers is a really important piece when it comes to your grounded reality, looking at what is, looking at the facts. The benefits of knowing exactly where you are is that you can know exactly what problems you need to solve. It's a preventative medicine, so to speak. You can prevent problems from happening. Or you face problems that are here. You become a problem solver, an innovator. You can come up with solutions, with ideas. It can motivate action and help you to focus on what you need to focus on in order to move yourself forward in your financial reality. It's really important to know where you are on the ground, because the ground is the foundations of your financial future, of what you are here to build and create. It's not as fun, it's not as sexy, but it's very important. This was a place that I completely avoided for a very long time. Now, some people are very grounded when it comes to money, but can also get stuck in the ground. And this is where money manifestation mastery, this methodology, is incredibly important. It can bring more creative energy, possibility, ideas, expanding your thinking, helping you to take risks. That can also be a really important piece for people who are very stuck in the ground and just stuck in the numbers and just stuck in the facts. So this is really about balance. It's about balancing both the ground and the possibility. And the challenge with looking at your numbers is really about managing your mind, your thoughts, the stories that you create based on your financial facts, your emotions, the emotions that you have when you look at your numbers, particularly in the beginning, and the reactive action you may take from those thoughts, from those stories, from those emotions. And perhaps decisions you take from what I'd call misaligned action or action from a reaction. So the important piece here is to manage your mind, manage your emotions, manage your nervous system as you are looking at your numbers and getting really honest, looking at the facts of your finances. So a very practical step that I'd like to share with you around knowing your numbers is to get really clear on every single penny that is going out of your bank account. Where are you spending your money? What are you spending your money on? Knowing exactly what's going out and how much is going out every week, every month, every year. You can create a simple spreadsheet to do this, or there are many simple money tracking apps out there that you can use. Essentially, you want to look at your financial reality and know your numbers. And when you're looking at what you're spending your money on, ask yourself where you're spending from. Are you spending emotionally? Is this unconscious spending that is leaking or draining your finances? Are you spending your money on practical things just to live and get by? What are you spending your money on, and where are you spending your money from? Your inner game, your relationship with money. With unconscious spending, there's a tendency to leak energy, to drain resources, and to make financial spending decisions from an emotional place or a reactive place or an unconscious place. So the invitation is to move into conscious spending, where you're consciously spending your money on things that are going to nurture you, on things that are going to grow you, evolve you, empower you, investing in your future rather than leaking your precious resources. So look at where you're spending your money, what you're spending your money on, and from where within are you spending your money. And then how much money is coming in? What is your income? And then comparing the two, the balance sheet. How much money is coming in? How much money is going out? And then getting clear on how much money you need on a weekly, monthly, or annual basis to be making, to be creating. And from this place, you can activate your money manifestation master, focusing on what you need to create, what you need to welcome in, what you need to earn in order to create greater financial balance. And then there's what you want financially, what you want to be bringing in. And knowing your numbers will help you to get really clear on all of that. Knowing your numbers is the base. It is the foundation. It is the grounded and practical aspect of becoming a money manifestation master. It is essential. This is helping you connect to grounded reality. Over time, it will empower you to grow and to rise, to be grounded into life, to be connected and empowered. And my top tip for you is to hold space for the often uncomfortable transition between where you are and where you want to be. Be with the discomfort. Do the inner work. Transform your relationship with money. Transform your relationship with spending. But be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Stay present with this uncomfortable transition, the void space of the in-between, I like to call it. And slowly but surely, one step at a time, you will transform your relationship with money. And like me, start to become comfortable and actually really enjoy knowing your numbers. Thank you for joining me for today's conversation, Know Your Numbers, looking at the grounded, practical facts of your financial reality. I'd love to know what you received from today's conversation. I'd love to know where you are when it comes to knowing your numbers. Please remember to breathe through any shame or discomfort or anxiety that comes up with this process. It's all completely normal. And don't hesitate to reach out if you need any support with this. This is what I'm here for. This is what I'm all about. I honor your courage to move through everything that's here for you when it comes to money. And let's remember to hold that vision of what you want and where you're going, doing the work now to build and create the financial future that you desire. And if you'd like to dive even deeper into this world of conscious wealth creation, come over to my website, larawaldman.com. We've got some great events coming up, free masterclasses, online retreats, incredible resources to support you even more. So head over to my website now, book your free place at one of my upcoming events, and I look forward to being with you again next time for another episode of the Money Manifestation Mastery podcast.